Hello everybody and welcome back to the Sideline Sato YouTube channel. This is take 2 of the Kyrie Irving trade video. I spoke on the trade request a couple videos back if you're interested in seeing my comments on that. I recorded 2 videos, another one that will be coming out later tonight, and I realized that I made a mistake and didn't record the audio, so this is round 2. I'm going to keep it a little more brief, but if you like what you see in the video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, do what you will to help support the channel. Any bit of support really helps. I'm trying to grow something here to where I could just kind of come on and talk about sports and other things that interest me. There will be more non-sport videos coming shortly, but as of right now, Kyrie Irving. Allen Ivermectin. He's been a character in the NBA. Quite honestly, probably one of the most polarizing characters in the NBA. And on top of that, has kind of left a burnt bridge pattern with the last few teams he's been on. The Celtics weren't too fond of him when he ended up going to Brooklyn. The Nets fans booed him when he showed up on the screen at the Barclays Center recently. And now the trade's official. Kyrie Irving, well, not official. It's set to be official tonight. There might be a third team involved in this trade. But as of right now, the presumed package is just a straight trade between the Mavericks and the Nets, in which the Mavericks get Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris, and the Nets get Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a first 2029 first-round pick, unprotected, and multiple second-round picks. The details will probably be ironed out shortly. I read that they're meeting tonight to finalize the trade. But the Nets have basically gotten rid of the locker room cancer and toxicity of Kyrie Irving, and the Mavericks have gotten an all-star level point guard who can, handle the ball alongside Luka. What does this mean? Who's won? And what do I think of it? Ultimately, I didn't see this coming to fruition. I didn't think that the Mavericks would be the ones to pull the trigger on the trade. But it's happened. And honestly, I don't think either side has really gotten the most value they can out of this. I mean, the Mavericks kind of have, because no offense to Dinwiddie or Finney-Smith, I think they're phenomenal role players, and I think Finney-Smith gets too much slander as a player. But ultimately, a player of Kyrie, on paper, his talent deserves a ridiculous haul. But considering that, he put it in the trade request, he said that if they don't honor the trade request, he's going to walk in free agency anyways. And ultimately, I mean, they've kind of made, the Nets, that is, have made out pretty okay, all things considered. The Mavericks, on the other hand, have, I think they gave up a decent amount, but they've also gotten a player who, it's a high-risk, high-reward move. They're trying to show Luka that they're serious about contending, to keep him, satisfied and to kind of build around him. And while the Mavericks do lose out on a bit of wing depth in the form of Finney-Smith, they will hope that by the time Maxi Kleber's back and Markieff Morris is added to the team, that they'll be able to kind of fill the gaps for Finney-Smith. There isn't any news as to whether or not Kyrie intends to extend, whether that's a 2-year deal before the contract extension deadline, or whether that's a 4-year deal in the offseason. It's going to be interesting to see him and Mark Cuban kind of butt heads potentially, and there's going to be some sort of contract standoff one way or another. And ultimately, I think this is one of those trades that could probably be the first domino to fall for some other trades down the line. I know the Nets have been interested in moving some pieces as well. as the Mavericks potentially moving Chris Wood. So I don't think that this is the final trade of the trade deadline, even though there hasn't been that much activity this season. I do think that we will see some more trades, whether it's between these two teams, whether it's involving this trade and, a 3-team trade ends up going down. But ultimately, I think this is the first domino to fall for some other moves to happen around the league. It could also, this being that it's such a high-risk, high-reward situation with Kyrie, could potentially be the first domino that kind of falls in maybe Luka leaving down the line. I'm a big fan of Luka. And, we'll see. The Mavericks aren't the best run organization in the NBA. They do have their flaws, but at least, in this situation, they have gotten a player who, on paper, is arguably still one of the best point guards in the league, one of the best point guards of the last decade. And offensively, they're going to be extremely potent. From a defensive perspective, though, I understand the concerns for Mavs fans. I understand the concerns on, that kind of backcourt of Luka and Kyrie, but we shall see. Ultimately, this is a blockbuster trade, whatever way you slice it, and I'll be very cautiously watching this storyline play out and see ultimately how this shapes the Mavs for the rest of the season and for years to come. But I do think that this was one of the few moves that the Mavs could make that immediately strengthens them. I think Kyrie will, I think he's going to, one would hope that now that he's traded and he's not at the Nets anymore, that he's going to buy in and he's just going to ball out. But there's no guarantee. He is in a contract year, so even if he doesn't want to stay with the Mavs, he's going to have to show that he's worth a good amount to be re-signed by another team. So I think he has it in him. The Mavs now have two of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league in Kyrie and Luka. So it's going to be pretty wild in the playoffs. I think they're arguably one of the most, if not the most interesting team in the West now because of this. It's just so unpredictable. Who would have guessed that the Mavericks was the landing spot for Kyrie after all this controversy? It'll be an interesting end to the season for the Mavericks and for the rest of the league. And ultimately, I don't really have much else to say other than the fact that I really was kind of blindsided by this. I feel like, once again, most people were. But I think this is just one of those moves that we will see a lot more movement in the league in regards to trades and player movements. And ultimately, this will have some massive implications for the Mavs, for Luka's legacy and his career. I think him and Kyrie are going to be able to play together really well, but it really depends on how the rest of the team will be able to perform given the circumstances. So if you guys liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Any bit of support really helps the channel. I'd love to see what you guys think of the trade. Did the Mavs win? Did the Nets win? Is it a lose-lose? Feel free to sound off in the comments, and I will have another video out for you guys tonight. Peace.